Okay, this is going to be an interesting video because I'm going to work on two things that I've done in videos before, making fish and making whales, which I put on the outside of my building. And but with this video, I'm going to turn them into framed artwork that you can hang on the wall with multiple fish and painting a backdrop as well. I'll get going on that, but before that, thanks to Stuart for sending me a t-shirt. So I think it says best cat dad ever. So yep, I've got 5 cats. Okay, and the rest of the kiln is whales, but they don't have screw holes in them because these are for a mural. So I'm going to glue these down on a panel and have 6 whales in a pod on each framed mural. So I'll show you the frames afterwards. But there's the first one. Here's a little tiny one. A different whale. This one has some teeth. The glaze is a little bit more transparent than I was hoping, because this glaze actually comes out shiny sometimes and matte other times. So distance and depth in the water. But there's a nice couple of whales. Nice swinging movement in this one. And 2 more. And this was a natural cool in the kiln. So I usually slow cool the kiln when I've got big flat pieces, so this kind of shows me that even with that air. Get the big one out first. That's the longest one in the firing, I think. I'm happy, they seem to have all turned out pretty good. You can see that there is variation. I'll hold this one up close. There is variation in the color on each whale, which is what I was hoping for. Same with this one. There we go. Got some nice movement here. And I didn't actually put anything. There's another shelf underneath there with a regular thick corduroy shelf, which I don't fire on because the flat pieces tend to crack easier on the thicker shelves. But anyway, we've got 12 whales to make 2 sort of collage together murals. Okay, I have just finished gluing the whales back on top of the board that I hand painted. Not sure if you can see the reflection in the water, but I painted sort of a watery reflection with matte and gloss mediums with the paint, so that so it does have a sparkle like the ocean does. And that's the one. It's just drying at the moment. I used epoxy glue to glue this down. This is my barnwood frame I've been saving for years till I found something to do with it. And here's the other one. And this one is also drying, so I'll let them sit like this all night. Epoxy glue is supposed to take 10 minutes, but maybe an hour, but I usually let it go for at least 12 hours. And then I'll turn it up and put some picture wire on and hang it on the wall. But you can just see the reflection, I think, of the actual water that I put in there. So that was quite time consuming to paint brushstroke after brushstroke with gloss medium over the top of the colors that I'd already painted on there. So what I have going on here is what I've covered in videos before. I'm just going to make my fish like I normally do, and I've already done a couple of whale pieces, so I'll let you go through the procedure of doing this. So I'll post a link to how I make the fish in another video, so you can go to that one to see how I do them. But I make lots of different fish, and I've got lots of videos of me doing it. So I'm just going to put this on stop motion for you so you can see me making one. there you go. So basically I've got to, I rolled the slab out this morning. It's a little bit soft at the moment. It needs to be a little firmed up, and then I'll try and manipulate a little bit more, but it's mostly done at this point. So I've got to make 6 of these for each of the framed pieces I'm going to do. And of course the painting of these is where most of the work is, so go take a look at that video on making and painting, decorating the fish. Okay, I've been painting the backdrops of these 2 framed pieces I'm going to be doing here, and it's just 1/4-inch plywood Luan with a primer on the surface, and then I use this furniture paint called Bluestone House Chalky Patina, which is a very matte paint, and I've got 4 or 5 different colors of it there, which I'm basically using a sponge to paint very kind of faded, merging kind of colors, and then using a clear water-based varnish. I'm using a Japanese paintbrush to make those kind of ripples, which are just the shape of the paintbrush basically, pressed in, and then lightly, thickly, heavily, and then light again to give a kind of a mark that resembles the kind of rippling of the water. And now I'm going to glue the fish on the surface. I've just got my fish out of the bisque firing, and I've been playing for the last 10-15 minutes, fitting what I can into the space that I have for each frame. So I've kind of satisfied now with my composition. The background is upside down behind the fish. It's going to be dark at the bottom instead of dark at the top. But now I just have to got a little job to do, because I didn't drill holes in any of these fish to hang on the wall outside the studio. So I have all these spare ones just here that I'm going to have to drill holes in. And after the bisque firing, the clay is still really soft, so that won't be a problem. But anyway, that's the next step, and then I have to glaze. Okay, I'm going to glaze all the fish now. I photographed them in their composition, which I'll post quickly here. So I can remember where they go when I get about the kiln and I have to put them back. And I can brush over this a little bit. Oops. That's funny. Anyway, I'll brush over this really quickly because basically you can see it in my other video, which I can post a link to. So, so I'm just going to sponge glaze these. That's how I usually do it when I've got a lot of stuff to do and not that much space, which is what most people have an issue with in their studios. We are all short of space, even no matter how big your studio becomes. So I've got variegated blue here. All I do when I'm actually doing these is I actually dab it using a sponge as evenly as I can. Let's see, I think I'm going to go with some bright yellow fins on this and a variegated blue center, because variegated blue shows up the texture quite well. And this way, a little bit of glaze can go a long way. And I'm going to have multiple glazes on each piece. So I'm going to be doing a lot of blending. But by sponging like this, I just did, you know, I've got like half a pint in this container. Then I can very carefully get this to, what was that, something there? Oh, it's just thick glaze. And you can, if you make a mistake like that, you can leave it there, or you can decide to blend it in when you put another color over the top. So I'm just going to do that little ring there, like that. And I usually do at least 2 coats of whatever color I'm blending. If you do a single coat, and it's a nice color, a single coat, you can do a single coat. I don't want to get too thick with this because that does actually show the texture really nicely. Okay, I just glued all of these together, which involves sanding away the paint underneath where the fish goes to actually put epoxy glue so that it's glued to the wood and not just a thin layer of paint. So both of these are finished. I'll hang them on the wall at some point and then take some photographs, and I'll put those at the end of the video. So this is a very nice, easy project that you can do to create something large if you want to create an impression. I don't think these are possible to take to craft fairs, but if you've got a gallery, retail place, or you want to just put something in exhibitions, but I wouldn't ship these. I'm going to make sure when I sell these, people have to put them in the car, because they're 4 feet across, one of them. No, that was the whale one that was 4 feet across, that's right. These fish ones are not quite that big, probably 3 feet, just over, 39 inches, but maybe a meter square. Anyway, I hope you like the project, something easy, just like the easy peasy sink. This is something that you could do to create something pretty amazing.